Unmute.
Hello, Joanne.
Hi, how are you? Yes, I'm
Lovely to
fine.
see you. Finally, face to attach to the voice.
Yes.
So let's let everybody reconnect. Already they are. So let me, participants, let me introduce you, Professor Dr. Joanne Roll, Dean Faculty of Business, Medgar Evers College, the City University, New York. Dr. Roll is a results-oriented, collaborative, and accomplished executive in C-level positions in both private and public institutions. She has developed teams that deliver new programs, increase funding resources, and improve brand recognition. She has held broad experience spanning 2 decades in positions to include member, treasurer, and secretary. In 2015, she was awarded recognition by the Network Journal as one of the 25 influential African American women in business. Wow. So Joanne has inspired audiences as an international motivational keynote speaker, specialized in leadership development, community development, economics, and business development. So over to you, Joanne. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I don't want to take a whole lot of time, so can I share my screen? I have a few slides. I'm trying to share my screen.
Yes,
okay,
we can
great.
watch you.
Great.
Yes, please go ahead. Share your
Yes.
screen.
Okay, there we have, and if I could just. Okay, right. So this presentation we have been doing for the last year and a half. We've been working in research with colleagues in Chile, in Nairobi, Kenya, and Jamaica on the future of work. And I've titled this one, The Future of Teaching and Learning in the Unscaled Economy. My colleagues are Jay Casato, Micah Crump, Alicia Reed, Professor Acevedo, Professor Price, and Nia Rock, and they come from multiple disciplines. So I just want you to know that this is not just my work, this is also their work. In this limited time I have with you, and I am on a timer, I know I only have 10 minutes, I'm gonna talk about trends in leadership needs for the future, education in 2020, and the impact of the pandemic. I can't say that we saw the pandemic coming, but we saw a lot of changes in education that were coming, preparing for what we're calling the unscaled economy. That in fact is some of the differentiation in our work, transforming the academy in a world of uncertainty, and the pandemic has brought more of that. The future choices of leisure and work, and developing ecosystems. And I'm going rather fast. However, I'm going to make my presentation to you. For some reason, let's see if I can do this manually. Okay, great. The trends in leadership needs for the future. There was a study done by Deloitte, as one of the major consulting firms in the US, and they looked at, they interviewed hundreds and thousands of managers to talk about, or to tell them, what do we need from the workforce that is coming? And so some of the work is what I will be talking about very briefly. And the research shows that while organizations expect leadership capabilities, they are still largely promoting traditional modes and mindset. And colleagues, what I have to tell you is traditional minds and mindsets and models are not sufficient for our post-pandemic world. And I will share with you why. When you get my presentation, you will also get hot links to the Deloitte study. But the major thing I want to highlight, and I want you to take a look at, is pre-pandemic, the ability to lead through complexity and ambiguity was the #1 thing that business leaders across the world were saying they need from the new leadership. No one could have forecasted a pandemic. No one has a roadmap for what will happen post-pandemic. In fact, some of our economists, I heard a previous speaker from Yale talk about some of the Ivy institutions. The former president of Harvard Institution, who is also an economist, they're not even predicting what is going to happen until after the vaccine has hit the market, in terms of how our economies will become more resilient and reflect what we need for the future. So a lot of ambiguity. We need a lot of ability for our students and our workforce to be able to lead in that kind of environment. Leading through influence is important. Command and control is not in the worldwide workforce and economy that is coming. To manage on a remote basis, many leaders in the US and many leaders in Pakistan and India, you will be working with workforces in the future that not unnecessarily that come from your countries because the world is flattening. Working with humans and machines, we have to create a confidence in our students that machines are not coming to take their place. Machines are coming to help us be more productive, and we have to learn how to work with them. I will share with you some examples at the City University of New York, what we're doing with the industry and what we're doing with machines, and the ability to lead more quickly because quite candidly, the world is changing faster. And that's the main reason we need a new leader. We need new leaders because of the technology, the pace of change, demographics in the worldwide workforce, and the changing of customers' expectations. Many of the customers are expecting more customized solutions in business as opposed to the mass productions that we delivered before. I don't expect you to read this particular chart. I have it here for when I deliver it to you. It talks about the traditional leadership outcomes and how they are not sufficient. Business as usual is not sustainable in the post-pandemic world. New leadership competencies, you will be able to see what some of those are and what the new contexts are. So where are the gaps in leadership now that we're preparing our students for? We need more transparencies. It's not good enough for top management just to give orders and expect bottom up for them to be carried out. The bottom up needs to buy in and understand so that they can be better producers. Internal collaborations. I know in the US, the academic teams across the campus, the accountants may not speak to the computer information scientists, and they might not speak to others ever. In new post-pandemic world, collaboration is going to be paramount, both in and out of the academy. And performance management, we're going to be measured like we've never been measured before, and refreshing leadership from within. This was a new finding that I didn't expect. It was that it is better, the return on the investment, to take the loyal employees that you have, where they are, and train them up to be your new leaders as opposed to what we have a lot of in Silicon Valley, where there's swapping of employees and it drives the wages up higher with those knowledge workers. What was going to happen in 2020, 5 years ago, there was a prediction. You'll be able to look at that prediction. It said that students will interact remotely. That is spot on. The sector of tech will rely on skilled teachers. Facilitators and teachers are not going away. However, as you talked about today in this webinar, what they do and how they do it is going to be different. The industry will think differently of our diplomas. I'll talk a little bit more about self-paced learning and stackable credentials on another slide. Students will have more of a voice. Share with you. Students are taking more and more control of how fast they learn, or in some cases, how slow they learn, so that they can make sure that the quality of learning is improved for them as individuals. Educators and institutions will be forced to adapt. My friends, I will tell you that many academic institutions will not survive this pandemic. We are already seeing it in the US. If many of our students are forced to go online, what is the differentiation from your online to another online? The professor from Yale talked about earlier making a curriculum available, synchronous versus asynchronous. We are collapsing, and I believe we're going to come out on the other end for those who can change with a better academic product. And what then that, in fact, I think is going to be the impact of the pandemic. What Summers also said was that transformation inside the academy rarely happens from us. We are going to be pushed by our students. We're going to be pushed by the industry, and we will change. I'm not going to spend much time on the unscaled economy and the different technologies because you've heard them, you've seen them. I'm going to focus on that second bullet. Instead of cloning homogeneous labor forces to support the demands of mass production, a more diverse, creative, and agile entrepreneurial teams of persons will cost effectively produce. And that's coming out of Hemant Tajay's thesis that we have embraced. We believe that production itself will change, which will spur the changes of many. Formal education, you know about, we deliver that all the time, but what is taking prevalence here is the self-directed ultra learning. Many of the students are impatient with the time it takes them for us to get them what they need. We have an example of a Scott Young. He's the author of a book called Ultra Learning. He took the entire MIT computer science curriculum and did it in 1 year. He took all the examinations. He wasn't looking for the diploma or the credentials. He wanted to be able to develop applications. Okay, so that's my 10-minute warning, so I have to hurry up, and be able to perform. And so more and more, many of our students are not gonna be looking for just the diploma. They're going to be looking to be able to perform. This is some of the work we're doing at Medgar Evers College. We actually have AI and accounting in our classroom. We have the certified public examination review in the classrooms, the industry working with us. Impact investing is going on in education in Silicon Valley and other places around the world in education and learning. Is a big business. The Academy is working more with the industry for capacity building. Here I just talk about AI and accounting that we're using. The choices are changing in demand for work versus leisure. I'll tell you, colleagues, many of our workforce are not going to work how we worked at the pace we worked. They want some more leisure rather than a lot of the work. There is going to continue to be a high demand for knowledge worker and a lower demand for manual labor. A lot of the technology is going to take over the manual labor and automation and detailed skills. Okay, so you heard a little bit about global wealth and income disparities. I'm not going to talk much about that. We have a whole work that we've been doing on that, exploring options for increasing and utilization of global talent, not just talent localized, and the hope for the future of entrepreneurship. And the unity and community and capacity building. This is my last slide, colleagues. To develop new effective leaders, we cannot go back to business as usual. That will not work for our workforce that we are producing. We have to work with many to figure out what the new needs are for this new dynamic market. And our students, just with their first diploma, it's not going to be enough. They're going to have to learn how to learn and continue to learn. And our options for work will increase. We in the workforce, as long as you stay in the workforce, you will need lifelong learning in an increasingly unscaled economy, and both industry and academic partnerships will accelerate teaching and learning in the post-pandemic world that we all must find a better, not back to normal, but a better normal in the future. Thank you.
Wow, what a good end. Yes, exactly. We should be looking forward to a better future, to a better normal. Let's say, call it like that. Thank you very much, Dr. Joanne. Question and answers, please. Now, let's have, this was the last speaker, last but not the least. Thank you very much. So any questions from Dr. Pagi, from Dr. Joanne, from Dr. Saira Afzal, please now, you may post them. Let's not be speechless. Let's speak and ask Joanne, as many. Joanne will be throwing more light on maybe how to collaborate with the industry, which has been a sore point for the academia for such a long time. So Joanne, a little bit about how to.
I can talk on how to collaborate. I can give you a couple examples. I gave you the Medgar Evers College example, but let me give you the more global City University of New York example. At the City University of New York, I'm sure most of you have heard of IBM International Business Machines, one of the companies that I used to work for. That entire corporation is working with the City University, sharing what they see is coming down the pike and helping us within in our curriculum address both computer science and computer information science systems curriculum, so that our students will be better informed and be more competitive and will have more of a use to the industry. It's a win-win situation. A lot of times, and this is not just picking on the computer science industry, but a lot of times when our students go out to industry, they have to retrain them. They have to retrain them because they have general knowledge, but they don't have some of the specific knowledge. And I'm not just talking about technical skills. Some of them don't have soft skills that are needed. You know, the students, when they come out as individuals, they are not that valuable to the institution unless they have teamwork skills available. Why? Because working in teams is a must. The problems are solving. This pandemic problem is a global problem. We cannot continue, or we cannot work in silos. And so those that we prepare who are better able to work in teams are more valuable to the industry. And I don't know about in your institution, but I know in our institutions, that is a skill that many of our students fight. They want to get their A grade alone by themselves, but when they get out, they don't know how to get the A team grade, which is more important than the individual grade. So the industries are stepping in with us before we even get into the classroom. They are helping us prepare the curriculum that will make us more competitive for the future.
Okay, any other question from Dr. Poggi or Dr. Saira Afzal? Dr. Joanne? Participants, anyone? Is there any hand raised? No. Okay, so thank you very much, Joanne, and thank you very much. With this, I come to an end of this today's very, very illuminating session. I'm so very thankful to all of you for being here with us. And of course, starting with our rector, Professor Dr. Altaf Hussain, and the management which provided us with this forum, and Dr. Nadia Tahir, MD, Quality Assurance Agency from Higher Education Commission, from sharing views about what steps are being taken by the government. And then Dr. Palaj and Dr. Palaj Molio, Dr. Thomas Poggi, Dr. Joanne, Dr. Mohammad Ashfaq, Dr. Ashley Dean's lovely presentations, Dr. Saira Afzal, who brought us to this, that we have to keep on wearing the mask and washing our hands frequently. Dr. Gobind Hirani, I would like to avail this opportunity to thank all my faculty member and especially my IT team, which has been, facilitating me throughout, and all my members who helped me in making this an excellent and result-oriented forum. I thank all the participants wholeheartedly. Those who would like to have the recording of this session, please send me. I have written my email as well. So send me an email and we'll be sharing that with you. And hopefully, inshallah, we'll be having another session somewhere in September. But that time it will be focused more on quality assurance processes for online teaching and learning. Once again, I thank you all, and thank you very much. So bye-bye, goodbye, take care, good evening, have a nice day, and lovely meeting so many of you. Thank you, Dr. Sai. Thank you, Joanne. Goodbye.
Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Palaj. Already
Thank you, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seema, lovely participation. Dr. Gobind, we missed your session, but that was.
It was an honor.
I have promised.
Thank you, all of you.
We'll be sharing your presentation. Thank you. Thank you.
You have given your precious time. You have listened us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Palasa. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Brigadier Dr. Mohammad Ashraf Saab and Abda Kauser. Definitely, I'll be sharing this. Please send me an email, Jamila, Anisa, Dr. Zubaida Khatun Khatak, and Dr. Amreen. Lovely comments that were shared and questions raised. Bharat, thank you. So over to you. Allah Hafiz, goodbye, and have a very, very nice day or evening, and sweet dreams if it is already good night there. So, bye.
Okay, ma'am. Allah is very nice. Dr. Amreen, मैं एक बात कहना चाह रही थी. I am Dr. Abda Kausar from Government College Women University.
Your good name?
I am head department of botany.
Okay.
Dr. Abda Kausar from Government College Women University, Faisalabad. I am head department of botany. अच्छा मैडम, मैं आज की जो प्रेजेंटेशंस हैं उनकी रिकॉर्डिंग चाह रही थी क्योंकि करंटली आई एम वर्किंग ऑन एसओपीज जो फॉलो करने हैं यूनिवर्सिटी।
जी आपने लिखा, आप प्लीज मुझे ना ईमेल कर दें आप ना, ताकि मैं आपको ईमेल पे वो शेयर कर लूंगी। नो प्रॉब्लम देयर। एंड बाय द वे the university college that you are talking about is next to my heart because I studied there as well, way back. Wow, long time ago, but that's my alma mater.
मैडम मेरा भी यही कॉलेज, जब ये कॉलेज था तो मेरा भी यही कॉलेज था, जब ये अब तो माशाल्लाह यूनिवर्सिटी बन गई हुई है ना।
जी जी,
तो इसका मतलब हम कॉलेज फेलोज हैं।
जी जी जी, चलिए ओके, थैंक यू, इंशाल्लाह, सी यू। अल्लाह हाफिज।
अल्लाह हाफिज।
अल्लाह हाफिज।